Aloha. I wanted to make a quick video in reference to World War III and some other little things that kind of like put it into perspective, like I did with the last video as far as climate change. And really it's about focus and where we get our foundations get created, these artificial foundations that get created for us as the masses to experience our reality as. We all know that the Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton thing is an adolescent joke in a sense, but this joke costs lives. It sheds blood. It goes all the way up until this, even in the last debate, Hillary Clinton was talking about Russia has been attacking, cyber attacks and all this shit. So them's fighting words right there. So you already know where she's coming from, and she already said in the past that she'll attack Iran for, if she was president. So there's these whole things about focus and energy, and ultimately it's us, the people, who fight the wars. And what I was thinking about yesterday and today is that the whole atmosphere, the persona, the character of the people of the United States is very rich in the idea of, see, we talk about like how freedom is not real, but when you put it into perspective and connect it to like the energies of freedom in relation to the rest of the population that is subject to the boot underneath the heel of this superpower we're calling the so-called powers that be, the matrix itself, it's gone into the psyche. You can see China, you can see Russia, the communist nations, Africa slaughtering itself, having to adjust to the colonial massacres, the psychological warfare. That's what's really going on here. This is what I really wanted to focus this video on. Is World War III is just a title of distraction, just like World War II and World War I. These are all titles of distraction, energetic distraction, to get you to buy into an idea. And once they get you to buy into it, and then you're already wrapped up into it, the same way that George Bush said after 9/11, let's go into Iraq. However, 15 years later, knowing that that was full of shit, and knowing now even more so that was full of shit on purpose, knowing that all the other wars, every single war is it's a movie script. It's a well thought out plan to get people to give their powers away, to invest their energy and their emotion, their focus into an idea, which the design is to keep the so-called powers that be in power. The energy of the control, the service to self on the collective scale, the haves and the have-nots program, the divide and conquer program, is built on destruction. The energy of the people is built on creation. That's the essence here. This is, you can go into the fear and the love, the light and the dark, the electric and magnetic, whatever it is that you want to call it. The essence of the people is to be born, live on the shoulders of your parents, grow, learn, see further, expand the horizon, learn more, expand your consciousness into wherever you choose to go, married with whatever your sole purpose is, Some people call it fate and all that other stuff. There's like a, I'll get into that too sometime, if not in this video. But there's a dance here, a harmony here that's going on in the human consciousness that is completely distracted by the destruction program. And when you can understand things like the placebo effect, which the scientism community, the so-called healthcare system understands, they actually study this. When you really look into it and just boil it all down, the placebo effect, excuse me, is a proof that the human body can heal itself. That is something that a regular sane system would look into and try to study and spend billions, if anything, to spend your money on, spend billions and billions of dollars to try to understand, knowing that people are dying from prescription drugs, knowing that people are dying from sickness and disease. And when you know that you can heal yourself by taking a sugar pill, then why don't you want to study that? Why? Because the destructive program that maintains the haves and have-nots is based upon the fiat currency system, which has you live in ignorance, funneling your energy, your money, into an illusion. This illusion goes all the way up into the balances of your very natures, your very existence, your connections to spirit, culture, your roots, the true essence of nature, human nature, actual human nature, not the mouth version human nature that gets pumped out by, the movies and these ridiculous ass news stories and all this fake new age perspective stuff. It's a balance of all the stories at once. These stories are not meant to be understood by a destructive intelligence program, because that destructive intelligence will be seen for what it is once the creative intelligence starts to amp up and activate in the human consciousness field. This is why you have the university system, which is actually counterproductive to the expansion of consciousness. You will never know who and what you are if you base your entire reality off the university system. Getting a degree, getting your PhD, getting a good job, the American dream. This is why this system, Hollywood, the pop culture mainstream, is so heavy in the United States. Because there's an energy within the people, like the dances that people have, the dances that the different cultures that dance differently around the earth plane are harmonics. The harmonics of that space is it's involved with all the other dances. And it goes down to the character that each individual possesses, that each family possesses, that each culture within a so-called nation possesses. The dances of the United States is not only a mixture of many different dances from all over the world, the melting pot, the salad bowl that is the United States, but there's also an essence here in the blood of the soil, the blood within the soil of the land. And just as you have different personalities in different, like in high school, different people are different, that person is shy, that person is an asshole, that person is good at this music, this person. Just as you have that, the nations are broken down by instruments. The instrument that is within the blood in the soil of the United States, one of the main ones, is this fire. This, when I say fire, I mean like the solar plexus fire that you feel when you hear like Malcolm X speak, when you hear or feel the essence of the Black Panther Party. Like, outside of all the COINTELPRO and the manipulative programs and the storylines that are outside of that, the essence of the Black Panther Party that was feeding children for years, feeding, which was also what most people don't realize, was mostly built up of women. But feeding children, the essence of community, by all means necessary. Any means necessary. This is our life. If you are not living, then why be alive? This is that essence to where this is what has manifested into this reality, as not only as a result of the entire nation being enslaved, but also in the essence, the algorithms of the soul of the people in this land. This is who the people are. There is a fight within the people that cannot be fucked with, no matter what kind of illusions you play. That shit will be flipped and it will be turned into something else. People in Oakland know what I'm talking about, because Oakland is known for this. A lot of shit comes out of Oakland. New dances, new music, even Tupac, the best rapper ever, said that he learned what he learned. He became who he became because he understood walking the streets. He understood the algorithms of what you get from the essence of being around the people in Oakland. So when you understand, and for people who don't know, the Black Panther Party also stemmed right out of Oakland. There's an energy there that people have, and not saying like that to put it on a pedestal and anything. This is just a dance that happens in different locations. For an example, and this is why, another reason why the Oakland energy vortex is being fucked with. This is why they pumped crack into the system in the 80s. This is why they're taking the Raiders out right now, because there's a camaraderie there. It's the system has been, even though all these football teams, basketball teams, baseball teams, they're designed to divide you. They're designed to create an energy that is of a ritualistic nature, that you will sell your energy into, and people will fight and do all kinds of shit for the Raiders, for the Niners, for the Dodgers, the Giants, whatever it is. That this is a program that we buy into because basically it's all that we have. We work every day of the week so we can, go to the game or watch the game and hang out and on the weekends. Like, this is a lot of people's lives. A lot of people's positive energy in their life is based upon the system itself. So when you have a camaraderie like the Raiders in Oakland, and then you suck that energy out of Oakland, you are sucking life force energy out of the people. And this is not a mistake. They are taking that energy and installing it into Las Vegas. This is where the focus wants to be. It'll crash and burn because it's not Oakland, and that shit is fake as fuck in Las Vegas. It's just artificial. But to stay on the point is, this is about energy. This is a metaphysical energy, a spiritual energy that this program is based upon. And it's based upon the way we as a people dance on a soul level. The people in the United States, in reference to the nationalism that I was referencing last night, or yesterday, because I'm going to get to something in reference to that, because people don't really get it. Some people don't get it as far as how important this is. Because in reference to World War III and any of the wars, you have to fight for somebody else's program, because you yourself do not know who and what you are. Just imagine if all the soldiers overnight discovered knowledge of self, the foundation and the roots that the superpower of the United States government and the military is based on. Just imagine what would happen. It would be a completely different world. This system is built on ignorance. Proof: Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Proof: George Bush and Barack Obama. Proof: ignorance. For people who are still holding on to the Obama bubble, all that damn excitement and celebration for having your first black president 8 years ago. Fast forward to today, 8 years later. What happened? Nothing. The same shit. In fact, the story got deeper and worse. This is how this design is set up. And it's not a mistake. It's all on purpose. These are not elections. These are systematic moves for a systematic takedown, for a systematic amplification of another system. The superpower of the people, that is the creative intelligence energy. The last, the last of the Mohicans, or the last of the warrior mentality that is existing in an entire nation, is held within not only the idea of the United States, but more so and first off in the people within the United States. The people within the United States have a fight and a fire that is part of the dance that the people are. Is a part of the music that we are born from this soil with. These extensions of the Constitution, the amendments, the civil rights, all this stuff, this is why this has to be created, because people are too sharp. People are too tuned in to the way the entire program is done. Not to mention the fact that you will not be able to enslave descendants of slaves. Not the same way you did before. This is why it has to be on a conscious space, on an energetic space, on a metaphysical energy. This is why you are being dumbed down with all these prescriptions. You're being distracted by all this mainstream media. You're being locked into this program on every level to suck the energy, literally suck the life force energy out of your individual body and your collective body. The people are not going to sit idle by while this ridiculous system attempts to expand itself. It won't work. They are trying to expand. This is why they try to get you to fight yourself. This is why the whole racism program, these movies, The Purge, the latest Purge that came out, the Star Wars Awakening movie, all of these movies that are out there are designed as a program to get into the people's head, to have you fighting for half the story because you have a half-ass version of your reality. And this leads into a response that happened on yesterday in reference to the climate change, basically the nationalism perspective of this video, this response. Nationalism preserves the race of the land. Of course, a Jew, Albert Einstein, would not want people to be nationalists, is because Jews don't have a nation, and Jews do have land where their roots are. I don't even know what the fuck, I can see where he's trying to get at there, but the main point is where he gets to saying, I'm a proud white European nationalist. There are so many holes in that it's just ridiculous. The next comment after that was, Europe is a continent, not a nation. And B, don't switch up nationalism with patriotism. Like he said, nationalism, unless you have artificial pride where you don't have to do anything for it. So that's basically it. It's this artificial understanding of your reality. Artificial understanding of who and what you are. First of all, white. There's an understanding that needs to be understood there. Europe. And then nationalists. These are all empty ideas combined to this label that this individual has chosen. And then you have an idea that people will go to war for, like the KKK mentality. It's, when he says we're people in the KKK says we're white people are the best, or fucking whatever it is that white supremacists say. They basically think that God made them, basically because the blonde hair, blue eye Jesus program taken to the extreme says that they are the chosen people, they are God's people. That whole mentality is the driving force within that particular group of people to act and do as they did, which is largely still very much alive in this system. So before I move into World War III, I wanted to expand on an idea, information for a so-called white European nationalist. Europe is a chunk of land that is 8 miles away over water from Africa. Do you not think that the Africans made a boat that could go across 8 miles of water? The thousands, tens of thousands of years between Africa and Europe. 8 miles. Yes, before Europe, Great Britain, and the Europe that claimed itself as a continent against its own damn definition of what a continent is, was not originally a white nation, a white land, a white anything. there is no claim to this, to the land as it's originally designed, unless you invent that claim. Like what happened to the Native Americans with Christopher Columbus. This is the same thing this is based upon the limited foundations, the inventions of a synthetic destructive intelligence. If you really want to understand who and what you are, because people believe who and what they are based upon what they have chosen as their foundation. But when you keep going on the story, when you keep going further into the understanding of who and what you are, things lighten up quite a bit. You start to realize that there's a lot more to the story that helps you out. This is why people are so angry. This is why the KKK is so angry. Because they have to constantly convince themselves of an idea that deep down in their essence, they know is completely fucked. Completely. And the people manifest that reality into their existence individually, into their family, and into their cultures on a regular basis. And eventually, you'll have people, if that goes on for enough generations, you'll have people going to war for an illusion. So for that individual who is labeling himself or herself as a proud white European nationalist, check out Dr. Ivan Van Sertima and Europe before it was European, before it was British. And I would recommend, check out, if you want to look at any of the videos, check out Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. Everything that you so-called have pride in has an origin that oh man, the further you go, the blacker it is. The roots of this system on one level. And this is why there's such a disconnect in the reality that we exist in. People are fighting colonial wars. Everything that is war today is a colonial war. You are fighting for Christopher Columbus. You are fighting for George Washington. You are fighting for Alex Jones and Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton and George Bush. You are slaughtering, dropping bombs, sending drones to sickness and disease for these people who are largely magicians who install illusions into your consciousness, who have to convince you into signing a contract of your life for the destruction of another life. And this is why I say voting, and a lot of people say this too, because it's true. Voting is a ritual. It's a blood ritual. This is why they have to make you go into it so much. If you want to know more about the rituals of voting, I can't remember the actual video. If you haven't checked out The Golden Web, I believe is the name of the documentary that Chiron Last put together. It's three sections. I'm pretty sure he mentions voting in that video. But when you cast your vote, like you cast a spell, you are literally voting for whatever it is. You are giving your power away to a system, to an idea. In this case, you are giving your energy into a system of destruction to go to war. This is why the voting program right now is being so amplified right now, because they are amping up for trying to see how many people will vote for war, will go to war. And this war will be based upon bringing in the so-called global unification program. And oh yeah, on a spiritual level, your vote counts. And it counts towards the bloodshed of these ridiculous so-called leaders making ideas to go shed blood on somebody else. And the most fucked up part that I see is that this is why they have to lighten it up with all these TV shows and talk show hosts and celebrities out there. They have to sell it to you lightly. They have to sell it to you in like a happy, like somebody commented, killing us softly. And I mentioned in a previous video, it's killing you with kindness. This is actually what it is. You're voting to kill people, convinced with kindness, just as you are convinced to be the bad guy if your skin is a certain way, just by walking around. And I saw a Bill Burr video yesterday where he was talking about white privilege, the foundation that the defense mechanism foundation of people who try to say white privilege doesn't exist. They approach it from like a financial or a work-based thing. Oh, you think white people are walking around with yachts and all this stuff? It's like they have, no, they're struggling just as much as you. See, you missed the whole damn point. You don't understand that the privilege and the idea of that mentality exists inside the person, inside the very genetics that have manifested over generations of colonization, generations of mind control, not only of the individuals who have been enslaved, but of the individuals who are the descendants of the enslavers. See, when I walk out of the door and I walk down the street, I have to automatically adjust my reality based upon what somebody else is potentially thinking and what other people are definitely thinking in reference to the scare tactics that get put out by the mainstream media and the genetics that still exist inside the descendants of the enslavers today. This is the foundation of where white privilege really matters. It's the essence of the psyche that people don't realize that they don't have to think about it. Like I was sitting at a bar the other day and just observing my reality and sitting next to these people, this older white couple who ordered 2 martinis, 1 apiece. Very rich, very like entitled. They had been going to this place. You can tell they had been going there for a while. And I knew they had driven there. They had their car keys and all this other thing on the table and this. And I just remember thinking, like, where the fuck does this entitlement come from? Like, how could you be so entitled that you're a fucking asshole to complete strangers? Or you're a total asshole to even somebody that you know, like somebody in the service industry. But that is the manifestation of the colonial program, the ha ha ha, the pinky out sort of mentality, getting to the point, they sit down and kick back an entire martini and then order an entire bottle of wine. Not a care in the world between either one of them. Because they know when they get in that car and they drive off, drunk as a skunk, they don't have to worry about a cop coming up to them thinking that they're a certain way. Automatically, they are already on a different vibration when that cop approaches that window. If that had been a so-called black couple, it would be a completely different world, a completely different vibration. But the way these individuals live their lives every day, that is an actual privilege that some people will not ever get to experience. They were literally born into that vibration. And it has nothing to do, when you really get down to it, it ain't got shit to do with like, oh yeah, well, I'm struggling just like you, there's poor white people and there's, homeless white people. It's like, no, you on a different foundation. There's a deeper layer of root systems that exist within this program. And this is where it boils down into the destructive intelligence of our very nature of existence that leads up to us going to war. Because we're already at war with ourselves. We're already struggling on a regular basis. When you look at this, World War III, this is a fucking joke for them. They install Anonymous out there talking about all this stuff. It's ridiculous. This is a movie that's being played, and your kids are going to sign their lives away, sign a contract of their lives away for these ridiculous ideas based upon lies. Hiding. Russia has a space program. The United States has a space program. They're fucking buddies in deception. If you just look at how that is, knowing that they got to distract you from realizing some of the biggest lies, and then realize that they don't give a fuck about who dies out there on the battlefield. They don't care about that. These are all distractions. In order to have a war, you have to have people to go to war. And in order to have people to go to war for a lie, you have to keep them ignorant. And as long as they're ignorant, they won't have knowledge of self. And if you don't have knowledge of self, then you're just a zombie. A functioning zombie. This is what the pop culture is. This is what this whole reality is. This is how it gets installed into the collective consciousness. Today, the internet does it. Yesterday, it was the news, the mainstream news. The day before yesterday, it was the radio. People sitting around the radio and the newspaper before that. sitting around the radio listening to next up, your president saying we gotta go to war. Oh, well, I guess we gotta go to war. Son, it's time for you to make a life for yourself. You need to go fight for your country. Why? Because the radio said so, son. Okay. Off to war that individual goes. Before that, they're reading the newspaper. Son, it's time for you to go. Okay. Why? Because the newspaper said so. Next time. TV. Tom Brokaw said so. George Bush said so. Hillary Clinton said so. Alex Jones said so. Yeah, algorithm. World War III algorithm. Yeah, there definitely is an algorithm to this. China got a space program too. So-called space program. These are all buddies. And once you start understanding, just like that example of an individual calling himself or herself a white European nationalist, not knowing shit about pre-so-called white Europe, and where they got all the, just like the Greeks got everything from Egypt, where the fuck you think Europe got everything from? The Moorish royalty. If you don't believe me, go look into that. So you ain't gotta believe me. Go look for yourself. This is the only way that these wars can have a foundation, is if you don't know the depths of the storyline. So you believe whatever it is you believe. And largely what's believed is what's pumped out by the news, now today's social media. Clinton talking about, we were attacked, a cyber attack. The fuck, a cyber attack? Bitch, you've been lying to these motherfuckers for so long. Your whole idea is a lie. Everything is a cyber attack. You spying on your own people, poisoning your people in the food, poisoning your people in the water, poisoning the psyche, poisoning the baby food, poisoning the schools, poisoning your university system, poison as the so-called healthcare industry, poison politics. You want us to listen to you to go to war? Get the fuck out of here with this shit. Who the fuck do you think you are? That's the mentality that people already have. But the same mentality that's going on at the same time is, well, there's what are we going to do about it? That's that old school mentality. The younger generation is privy to this information. You can't sell people some fake Jordans if they know what's real. For example, like you can't sell somebody a fairy tale when they have knowledge of self. They know where that fairy tale came from, and they know the actual essence of that story as a better example than the Jordans. Because that's actually what's happening right now. People are being sold fake Jordans, and then they get so-called caught up in or successful in the real world, and then they get to buy some real Jordans thinking they made it. Like, nah, you still in an illusion. You in a box. You made it in a destructive intelligence program. So once you get knowledge of self, which is inherently the knowledge of all that is, then that's when you start existing on a different plane. This plane is on ignorance. World War III, that's an ignorance program. So they'll tell you, try to get you fired up. These ain't leaders. Obama ain't even no damn leader. He only got in there because the White House has been white for how many generations? People believe in that story, believe in Obama. We got to believe he ain't nothing but a preacher. Scientism, buddies with Bill Nye, buddies with Neil deGrasse Tyson. Look at all this shit. People talking about this. I go through this because Alex Jones, his whole damn channel is based upon this whole fire you up mentality, and he's in buddy up with Trump. This is what this merging of the social media, online news, conspiracy theory storyline is coming to. So it involves everything and everybody. And I'll leave it here because I just really wanted to share the contrast between what World War III really is. It ain't got shit to do with Putin and Russia and Clinton and Trump and all that stuff. World War III, any war, all the wars have already been going on. They already exist in the individual. In order for it to, just as much as I said in the past, in order for something to manifest in the mind, it has to first have manifested in the soul. Before something can manifest in the body, it has to have first manifest into the mind. It goes from the soul to the mind to the body. This is where the placebo effect stuff is, where the so-called healthcare industry won't even go into. It's the same reason why they are taking the understandings and even the recognition that the pineal gland even exists in your body. As much as the pineal gland was understood by the ancient civilizations, it's not at all even mentioned today. This is the de-evolution program. And as they de-evolve you, they have to distract you and build up a storyline for you to believe in. And we can see that this storyline, the military-industrial complex, the prison-industrial complex, the university system, this is all based upon ignorance, destruction, self-destruction and collective destruction. So the mind level, the mind control level that manifests is this social media, news, propaganda for war, which every war that we have been in has been the result of an illusion, some kind of made up fucking story by the people who need you to go to war to give them power. It's to believe in all these things. So when people talk about World War III, if you ask a great number of the people from a particular perspective, we've already been living in World War III. It already has existed. They've just been priming it up. The only thing is now is that people are too informed on previous wars, on not so previous wars, and of themselves to be just jumping in to a war. On like the war on terror, like what the fuck does that even mean? Like they had to do something horrible to their own people with 9/11 to get people to go to war with Iran and Iraq and Afghanistan. amplified to Syria and Libya. It's a colonial program. If we take a moment to take a breath and just realize that this is an entire mind control program, don't be listening to Alex Jones. Don't be listening to all these people trying to scare the shit out of you. Even these soft ass magicians like Stephen Colbert and these punk ass people like Bill Maher. That dude he's an actual algorithm. The way he gets these people to go on his show gives him the segue to say what he says, which is a program. The audience is there to back him up. And the way he plays the audience is an actual algorithm. The way he looks at the audience, the way he looks at the way he responds to the people that he's called onto his show. This is all designed to make you think and act a certain way. Bernie Sanders, it gets you thinking to talk about Bernie Sanders and channel that energy into Hillary Clinton, and then have the bad guy of Donald Trump. This is all a badass movie. Every single element that is a part of this information highway is a carefully calculated algorithm. And when you step out of that completely and say, look, stop for a second, sit in the compassionate space of, what this foundation is based on. Sit in the seat of the Native Americans, the indigenous people, the Aboriginal Australians, who are damn near extinct by the British colonial empire. So you have to not think about that shit. You have to oh, well, that's just in the past. Oh, that's just this stuff. Oh, why are you bringing it up? You have to not think about that stuff in order to make your current perspectives more prevalent to the reality. Oh, you're thinking in a different. You're just like the white European nationalists. What the fuck does that even mean? You made that shit up. It's pride in nothingness. It's empty. It's empty on a foundation of cracked emptiness. Like these wars. The only way you can drop drone bombs on civilians the way that is done today is if you are completely empty inside. You have zero compassion, zero empathy. You are fueled on the apathy of lack of knowledge of self. And then they make you believe into these stories so you can go to war. So it's basically what I wanted to go into as far as this World War III shit is going on. Because really what it boils down to is this storyline is going to do whatever the hell it is that they're going to do. And the people are going to believe whatever they are going to believe. And the only thing we can do is share as much information as we can with people to help people think for themselves and make a deeper connection with themselves, which will inherently make a deeper connection with other people, which will ultimately have us realize this destructive intelligence that manifests into wars, world wars, is just fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous overall. And it's being pawned off as something that you have no power over, but you do. It just takes a little work, a little time and effort on the individual to stop this program, stop sending these lack of fire programs down to your next generations. So thank you for joining me, and until next time, from all my relations, peace, love, and harmony.